Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. It's October 6, 2014. I'm Logan Burgess. To my right here is Cody Bills, where we finally get to talk about a very positive day for the grains in Chicago. Take a look at the iPad here and see where we closed out the session. We had corn up 9 1/4, soybeans leading the way higher, up 29.5 cents, and we had Chicago wheat picking up 5 3/4. Just a reminder, if you want this mobile trading app on your iPad, iPhone, Android, or tablet, visit us over at grainhedge.com. You can take a 14-day trial here today. Cody, let's cut to the chase. Though, looking at soybeans in particular, a lot of strength there. Is this a change in the trend here or just a little bit of a bounce in a down market?
Well, I think it's definitely a bounce in the down market. When you look at the fundamentals, nothing has really significantly changed. I think earlier on in the trade day there was talk about frost in Minnesota and areas of the Northwest. I think that triggered short selling. I don't necessarily think it's going to be significant enough to damage this production and change this the trend that we're seeing in price action. So I think what we saw today is some short covering, and that causing some other people to get liquidated and kind of blown out of some other shorts potentially.
Yeah, obviously, you know, Cody, the obvious question that we were getting a lot today in the office here was, in a bounce like this, how much upside potential are we kind of seeing here in a market that has sold off substantially for the last couple months?
In between the 19th and the 21st here, it was over the weekend. I think it was on Friday, Informa came out with some numbers that jarred the market. On the 21st, we gapped lower. That gap in price action, typically when you look at those gaps, they provide either support or resistance. In this case, as we move up to retest that gap, I think it's going to provide some resistance. So when I look at a price point, I look at 955 area as an area I think is going to be a battleground and offer up some selling pressure. So if you're looking to sell something around these points, that may be a good entry point.
Yeah, and if you look at this chart here as well, you see that the top line here, kind of as you had mentioned, is the general trend that we've seen for the last 2 or 3 months. We're going to need a pretty strong close above that 965 area or so to indicate a break in the general trend. So I guess that's just one more reason here as we enter Tuesday. Another piece of evidence toward the fact that this may just be a bounce in a bear market and not the change of anything new until we get more price action here to confirm that. You know, from a risk management standpoint, obviously today's are the kind of days where you want to look at pricing some grain. A couple weeks ago here on GrainTV, we highlighted this $9 put. This is something that a lot of producers have been using to mitigate price risk here really throughout this sell-off, is the use of put strategies. And you can see here on the right axis, we're seeing the premium for this put in cents per bushel. And you can see that today we saw it trade down substantially lower. So the time to be buying these puts is not when there's a lot of fear in the market. The time to be buying them, or at least considering buying them, is days where we see considerable bounces, and without a doubt today was one of those days in soybeans. So I would encourage producers out there who feel a little undersold, you know, take a look at some of these puts, take a look at some cash market options, because fundamentally, as you said, Cody, the picture has not changed. In years where we see stocks to use like we are expecting this year, we see prices considerably below, you know, 950 on the board. So that's kind of, I guess, my final takeaway for people looking at today's price action.
Absolutely. And of course, crop progress came out today, Logan. How is that going to impact the trade in the overnight session?
Well, it's kind of a mixed bag here. If you take a look at this table, you can see that in terms of harvest pressure, or excuse me, harvest pace, we're a little bit behind what the trade is expecting. The average analyst was looking for 20% of corn and 23% of soybeans harvested. You can see we did not get that here today, reported by the USDA. And keep in mind, the remainder of this week, there's expectations for some heavy rain that could continue to delay harvest. So I would say at this point that may be a little bit of a supportive factor. One key thing to take away from today's report, though, is that the USDA raised the good to excellent rating on soybeans 1 percentage point. So I think that may act as a little bit of a reminder to some of the longs that got in the market today that, you know, if you're buying beans right now, just keep in mind this is an exceptional crop. And even with very tight September 1st quarterly stocks, the carryout is still going to be quite large. Like I said before, all things considered, I'd be looking at getting a little bit sold here on this bounce.
Yeah, and when you talk about some of the harvest pressure here, of course, you know, like you said, we are running a little bit behind pace. You said that we're going to get some more rains this week. But even when you look at the longer term, the 8 to 14 day forecast, we are seeing wetter than normal weather out there. And so that could also provide some opportunity for this thing to rally here if we continue to see delays here in this harvest.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the next here big thing for the grain market is going to be on Friday. We're going to be getting the October 10th USDA report. And as I said at the beginning of the show, we have a great mobile app We've been talking to a lot of producers here in the office, Cody, that have been getting out and getting corn and soybeans harvested, but they have their iPad, they have their mobile phone with them, and they're able to view live quotes out of Chicago, they're able to place trades, and they're able to monitor hedges that they have on their account. So if you'd like to take a look at that and see if it's something that you'd find useful, you can go to grainhedge.com, take a 2-week trial, and like I said, just take a look at it, see if it's something that you want to get for your operation here as we enter harvest. As always, if you have any questions about what we discussed here on GrainTV or taking a demo of our mobile trading app, visit us at grainhedge.com or give us a call at the office, 877-472-4607.